Do you ever watch those videos where people go, "Oh no, I think we just found a ghost"? Then you see the footage and it's like a branch or a really convincing shadow. Hi, I'm here to talk about the things that scare me. If you want to follow along today, I have a prompt for you. Think of a place that scares you. Maybe it's an abandoned house in your neighborhood or a haunted forest you read about in a local legend book. Let's call this place your fear focal point. Now, why does it scare you? What's there? Why can't you go back? Is it because of a story you heard as a kid? Did someone tell you that there's a monster under the bridge? Or is it something more personal? Something about your own internal world that makes you afraid to look. Fear focal points are everywhere. You probably pass them by every day, but sometimes they're in plain sight and won't stop calling to us until we answer. For me, these places are lighthouses, so let's get started with Lighthouse Horror. The lighthouse stood like a sentinel on the edge of black water cliff, its skeletal frame clawing at the sky. Locals called it the Widow's Eye, a name whispered with unease. It hadn't been lit in decades. Not since keeper Elias Griggs vanished without a trace in 1972. They said he went mad, claimed the sea spoke to him in voices only he could hear. When the restoration project began, I volunteered. I was a maritime historian, drawn to forgotten places and the secrets they kept. The lighthouse was perfect isolated, untouched, steeped in mystery. I arrived in late October, the wind sharp and the waves violent. The keeper's quarters were still intact, dusty but livable. I planned to stay a week. On the first night, I heard the foghorn. It groaned through the mist like a dying animal, but the horn hadn't worked in years. I checked the control panel dead wires, rusted switches, no power. Yet the sound came again, low and mournful as if warning something away. Or calling it closer. This idea of a haunted lighthouse isn't original to me. If you've seen any episode of The Twilight Zone, you'll know there's a whole tradition of lonely light keepers getting spooky phone calls or unexpected visitors. But I think part of what makes these stories scary is that they take something familiar and turn it eerie. I mean, lighthouses are supposed to be helpful. They exist to guide ships home, right? It's kind of like that feeling you get when you're re-driving at night, and you see a roadworks sign that says road closed, but there's a car parked underneath it. Like the rules apply to everyone except this one guy who obviously knows something you don't. On the second night, I found Elias's journal. It was buried beneath floorboards in the keeper's bedroom, wrapped in oilskin. The entries began mundane weather reports, maintenance logs, inventory of supplies, but they grew erratic. He wrote of the mirror tide, a phenomenon he claimed reversed reality. He described seeing his own reflection in the sea, watching it move independently. He spoke of the drowned ones, figures that emerged from the surf at night, whispering in languages older than the wind. I laughed it off. Isolation breeds madness. But that night I saw them. 3 silhouettes stood at the edge of the cliff, unmoving. I thought they were hikers until one stepped forward and vanished into the air. No splash, no sound, just gone. I didn't sleep. So I have a question for you. Would you keep writing in that journal if you were Elias? Would you document what's happening? Or would you throw the thing away and try to get as far from this lighthouse as possible? Let me know in the comments. And if you're enjoying this video, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the rest of our spooky season episodes. The third day, I climbed the tower. The lantern room was coated in salt and grime. As I cleaned the glass, I noticed something strange. The sea below was perfectly still. No waves, no wind, just a vast black mirror. My reflection stared back, but it wasn't me. Its eyes were wrong, too wide, too knowing. I descended in a panic, but the stairs seemed longer twisted. I swear I passed the same landing 3 times. When I reached the bottom, the sun had set, though it had been morning when I climbed. This feeling of being trapped is another aspect of the haunted lighthouse story. The hero might start out excited to spend some time alone to escape the world for a bit. But once they realize something is wrong, the isolation becomes a punishment. The lighthouse becomes a prison, and the protagonist will do anything to get out. There's also this idea that lighthouses are safe. They stand strong against the crashing waves and guide ships safely to shore. But what if that's just a front? What if they're really sirens, attracting sailors to their doom? That night the foghorn screamed. It was deafening, shaking the walls. I covered my ears, but the sound was inside me. I felt it in my teeth, my bones, and then I heard the voices. They came from the sea, rising with the tide. They spoke in harmony, a chorus of grief and rage. I looked out the window and saw them, dozens of drowned figures, pale and bloated, crawling up the rocks. Their eyes glowed faintly, like lanterns lost beneath the waves. I tried to flee, but the door wouldn't budge. The journal lay open on the floor, pages fluttering. One line burned itself into my mind. The lighthouse does not guide ships. It traps souls. I understood then. Elias hadn't vanished. He'd been claimed. I love that line so much. Stories about haunted lighthouses usually end with our heroes escaping, either by fixing the lighthouse or destroying it, releasing whatever spirit was trapped inside. But here the lighthouse is doing exactly what it was built to do. And now I'm wondering, is there anywhere in your life that feels like a lighthouse? A structure or situation that promises safety but really only holds more danger? Is there somewhere you feel trapped? Do you feel like you're hiding? Are you running from something or trying to get someone else to stop chasing you? Sometimes these fear focal points are easier to avoid. But when they become part of your everyday life, they're a lot harder to escape. And maybe sometimes the scariest thing is facing the darkness within yourself. They found me weeks later, wandering the cliffs, muttering about mirrors and tides. I haven't spoken since, but I still hear the foghorn. And sometimes when the moon is high, I see my reflection in puddles watching, waiting. The widow's eye still stands, and it's always hungry. Thank you so much for listening, and a huge thank you to our patrons for helping us make this video. Our patrons also get access to exclusive bonus content like blooper reels, behind-the-scenes stories, and extended podcast episodes. If you want to support the channel and get more information, check out our support page. Also, please leave us a comment telling us about the place that scares you the most. We might feature your story in a future video.